Hey guys, this is Tigress coming back to you with a new episode of Minecraft New Adventures. And I've been slightly busy in between episodes, not slightly more rushing to spending several hours on a space of between a couple days. Mainly because in my inventory I have a bunch of polished andesite slabs. Oh, that's almost coming night. Now I'm kind of wanting to use for the roof because I kind of like. If I just place a few down. And I kind of like how it looks all like stony and sort of like. But I'm not 100% sure, and I did spend a long time going after creepers. So what I am going to do today is chuck all this into a chest, jump in, have a swim, get freshened up, and then sleep, and then go and make all of that into TNT to then go to the Nether. Also, guys, before anyone does ask me, do I know what's currently going on in the UK? Yes. Am I going to discuss any of it? Nope. Do I agree with any of it? I'm staying out of it. At least YouTube-wise, I'm staying out of it. And if no one knows what I'm on about, quite simply, the UK government's making decisions about how the country should be run and putting stuff in place that really shouldn't be put in place. And they're saying people who agree with the stuff that that disagree with the fact of what they put in place, and then agreeing with people who basically, as they put law in to protect children online, it doesn't really do that. Again, staying out of it. I personally don't agree with the law because it does seriously affect everything else. Because it doesn't, for the most part. Again, I've said this more than once. If kids want to find something online, they will find a way. VPNs, lying about the rage, finding ways to fake that shit. Kids get smarter each generation. So we do have a nice bit of like 3.5 stacks, just over 3 stacks. I am gonna go and chuck the slabs in here for now, because I know the reason I didn't like make more, because I think it was last episode I got like the 4 stacks of andesite. My worry was I wasn't gonna like it and I'd want to test it first. So. Also, for the most part, I've kind of moved everything out of that, apart from the nautical shell, and then moved everything where it should be since. But first we're going to grab the gunpowder. Kind of for a couple snacks. Again, guys, I spent like day-wise, I think I spent like 5 days like going after creepers. Like, I wasn't heavily going after them, but like I was also a load there already. So, had I got what I got, yeah, it's still nice. But like, as soon as I do get a loosened sword, which is why next week I plan to make an enchantment room. I do need to decide, and see, this kind of bugs me now, but it's like, I don't want to, because I kind of like it. It's dumb, and it bugs the living hell out of me, but I kind of like it. But before we go to the Nether, I do have my iron armor, freshly new made iron armor, just in case. That's okay, please don't crash. But yeah, so I do need some more food, so I am gonna go and just make some more bread. Also, guys, hopefully this will be the last time I mention anything to do about K-pop Demon Hunters. But anyone who does want to know, apparently there have been. I've double checked online myself. I couldn't see nothing. I will at some point double check if I remember. But apparently there have been confirmations that a second and third movie, plus I think a series, has been confirmed. Like I've said for the last few weeks, a second movie was 100% guaranteed. So unless people are going, unless it is a case of people are just going based off what, but I don't know until I can actually find a source online, and like I've only found out this half an hour ago, if that. Like, it was literally before streaming. I was watching TikTok, setting up, and it's like, oh, okay. So I watched it, and I can't remember who the creator is, but I tried looking on Google and I couldn't see anything. So either A, it's just speculation, or B, I actually do need to go and click on a few links and actually find something out. But again, guys, I've said for the last couple of weeks, which I know gets repetitive, there was always going to be a sequel made. Now, the reason why I've said there was always going to be a second movie and potentially a third, I didn't say anything about series because I wasn't 100% sure. That should be enough. But the reason I didn't say nothing about a series was because I wasn't 100% sure. Like, I knew a second movie would, but I wasn't 100% sure on a third, and I wasn't 100% sure on a series. Because I don't know whether A, they're going to get a series out which has... Because the way I see a series working is very similar to how Has Been Hotel does it. And if you've... Like, Has Been Hotel is a really great series on Prime that's got its season 2 coming out in October. I think I mentioned that along with My Hero Academy Season 8. Also, started watching My Hero Vigilante yesterday. Only season 1's out in a minute, and it's only 13 episodes. Finished it earlier. I'm starting to... How did you... No question. I'm starting slightly kicking myself for basically ignoring a prequel series. At least from a case of... It gives me more My Hero content, and it gives me more of a perspective on a few things. Because something My Hero Academia does... My Hero doesn't cover, My Hero Academia, My Hero Academy doesn't cover is what were the heroes like before the before like a law got brought in that stated they have... I don't think I've not been ever since before, like, you had to register and get a license. Because guys, My Hero Academy is basically, for the most part, of being a hero is basically being a pro. Being a pro is having a license to be a hero. Like, you get paid for it a lot. Like, I might do this in like 3 or 4 things. But yeah, like, you get paid to be a hero. Like, you get a pro license, you get like the cops contact you, and it's a full system. Now, something I didn't consider is, because it's like, why would I? And I never considered, like, for instance, again, bringing it back to K-pop Demon Hunters, their weapons are summoned from the Harmoon? Basically this wave of mystical, like, thing that stops the demons from being able to summon themselves, or being able to enter into the normal world. Again, I want to try and... Is it Harmoon? I know for a fact I'm saying it wrong, but... But, like, I never put into consideration... Hold on, wait, are their weapons, like, summoned? Like, straight from the thing, and from the looks of it... Potentially... And I think it's really cool, the fact of, like, their weapons, like, the only things that can kill the demons basically come from the thing that protects them from the demons. But say, am I an idiot? Did I not bring my... It's like, no, I did. So... But yeah, like, things like that, I didn't consider that until... So again, someone on TikTok brought it up, and it's like, oh my god, how do they? And so, something I never did consider for... My Hero Academy was, what was like hero work like, but when you had to have like a license? And it then got me thinking, hold on, wait a minute. I know what it was like before needing to watch Vigilante. I was thinking this during Vigilante. Because I look at Vigilante and my first thought okay, Knuckle Duster, this universe's version of Batman. Powers, goes toe-to-toe with some of the strongest people without powers, and my hero's whole thing is quirks become hero. Like, almost everyone's got a quirk. Like, granted, Vigilante is set. The main My Hero Universe Academia set, it takes place, I think it's 5 years after All Might's injury, and like Vigilante's, I believe, takes place before. So, to find out the fact of, like, at one point, yeah, heroes were considered villains. Because it's an interesting thing to think about, and it did get me actually thinking about real life stuff currently going on. If you're from the UK, then you'll know. If you're not, look it up. You're gonna actually have the free Road 2 look yourself up. But it's like, hold on, yeah, like they would have been considered the villains, the bad guys, because they were operating outside of the law. And I thought it was interesting because it's like, it didn't, like, who gets to, like, choose yeah, it's fine, I'm not gonna go down now. It's like, who gets to choose between who's the good guy and who's the bad guy? Like, why should not having a license stop someone from doing the right thing? So it did get me thinking, and because Knuckles is essentially my hero's version of Batman. The Crawler, I look at him and I'm like, I see what he wears, and it reminds me of Nightwing. Like, I look at him and I see, like, sort of like Dick Grayson. Like, I definitely see one of the Robins. So, and then I think her name's Popstar. I think it's supposed to essentially be a play from like Popstar, but like, again, I've only literally just finished watching it, and I've only, like, there's only one season out, and I've not read none of the manga, so I don't know more than quite simply going. So the dude wearing all black looks really cool, kind of terrifying, but looks really cool. But it definitely did get me thinking about a few things. It's like the only thing I know about it is something I saw on, I think it's TikTok I saw it on, was basically going, hold on, why wasn't the Crawler involved in the battle against Shigaraki? Like, his glide ability could have been useful, surely. Like, I doubt, like, him, Knuckle Duster, and the girl that they're with, who's, like, a singer, dancer sort of thing, would, like, surely stand. Like, granted, from what I've seen in the show, if the cops, like, if there's no hero around or Knuckle Duster's not around to go brawling, they sort of get people out and, like, keep the villain distracted until the cops can show up. But, like, surely... I'm gonna do 2 more turns. But yeah, it did really get me thinking about it. It's like, why were people without a license then just being considered wrong? Because I get it, the fact that the government would want only pros, only people with licenses in the My Hero universe operating as heroes. It's to cover everyone's sort of back. Like, if random people with quirks then started essentially beating up people who were breaking the law, then surely there's got to be some point where damn it. Well, let's see what I'm here. But it's like, it was an interesting sort of thing to get me, like, I was thinking about, it's like, so, I'm not like, see, I'd be very much of a hypocrite if I was, like, a case of in that sort of position. It's like, why hate on the vigilantes? At the end of the day, yeah, I get they're breaking law. But, the crawler basically says at the beginning he wanted to be a hero, but he knew he never could. Because his quirk was too weak. And it's like, this kid wants to, like, not even kid, he's got to be an adult. Because, well, saying that, it's like the whole, like, My Hero Academy, the whole of it is based in Japan, and I don't know, like, what, like, Japan's, like, school thing, like, because the crawler did try to apply to a My Hero, like, a hero school, like a hero college, or, like a hero program, but he was helping someone and he missed the exam. We do get told in the episode where he mentioned that who he was helping, and it turns out to be someone who he thought was a boy. Turns out to be someone who he sees on a daily basis. And it's like, there's the crawler who wants to be a hero, who knows he never can because his quirk's too weak. And then there's someone like Deku, who is then told by Eraserhead in the very first, I think it's like the first, second episode, actually, and like, I think it's the very first day of training at UA. He's like, Eraserhead's just like, yeah, you're never gonna be a hero. Like, But like, Deku was told the fact of by his own teacher he's not going to be a hero, which I actually get. 3 more, right? Like, you've got a pupil who is constantly breaking his bones, and I mean constantly. But in reality, if they knew Deku's abilities were, and then they would be like, okay, yeah, you can be a hero because All Might was one. I'm gonna need to make more buttons. Hopefully by next time I go and do this, I'm hoping to actually have not fire resistance, a flame bow. So, it's really interesting to see someone who wants to be a hero, but knows deep down his quirk's not good enough, and it's like... So, if at any point this kid tries to help someone, I'm saying kid even though... Like, even though the fact he's, like, not, because I think he's, like, a college student, which I'm presuming he's about an adult. Just because when I do mention, like, just because I know for a fact at some point someone's going to be like, hold on, what do you mean, like, because I did a year of college. I know somebody's going to be like, hold on, you paid all that money to only do a year? No. College in the UK is literally just a case of something we do before we go to university. College in the States is the equivalent of we're doing a 4-year program. That's university for us. Granted, I do have a mate who did go to uni and then didn't finish it, which I was more surprised that they went to uni. And before anyone says, Tigress, what if she sees your video? Well, not she. It's a she, but what if like see your video? On my stream, it's funny. I've said it. I full on said it to their face. I was like, I was surprised. Mainly because other people I thought would have gone to uni didn't actually go to uni. So 8 pieces out of like 39 blocks isn't too bad. It's kind of like 1 per 4 blocks of TNT. Like, I like how like this sort of looks glowy because the lava's right there and it just looks so nice. But yeah, like K-pop Demon Hunter, getting back to that anyway, for like, I know I keep saying I'm not going to talk about it. It's a really great movie and it's constantly on my mind, but I will keep up to date with the fact of if it does get sequels. Sorry about that. Me knocking my own headset. In this case, me knocking my own mic. But apparently, it's like it's going to be turned into a trilogy, which means it's getting 2 more movies and a series, and I can kind of get them why they would want to do a series for it. Like, if they're going to do it, like, I can presuming that what they would do is do the series in between, like, have the movie come out 2028, 2029, the second movie. Potentially later than that, do the series and have it come out, say, next year. Hear me out. Series generally don't take as long, and I reckon that if they say did it late next year, they could have a full... Like, see, when I say series, I don't mean 20 plus episodes. I'm saying, say, like an anime sort of style, because the closest to it, which would be like 12 episodes like season. Have it come out closer to the end of next year, or mid, say, next year. You have enough time to do a few episodes. And because you have enough time to do a few episodes, you can then roll them out. And you can either do what Invincible Season 2 did, and have like the first so many episodes, first half come out first, then second half in, say, the following year, or near the end of the year, But actually, see, Invincible Season 2, the last 4 episodes came out last year, but the first 4 came out the year beforehand, which I wasn't completely against. It was annoying. Like, it was annoying as hell. Also, guys, even when I do get enough netherite to make 4 netherite armor, which I got like 19 netherite scraps, I'm not going to be making them for a little while. Because 1, I've not needed it. 2, if something I'll see what I want to do, make 4 set of diamond armor, spend days tracking down the like end portal, because it'll take me a while. See, there's one way I know I could track down the end portal, but it's technically cheating, because the fact of ghost, I can ghost to the ground. Mainly because I know if I use ender pearls, it's going to take hours, which I'm gonna have to do at some point. So, but yeah. So the reason I think they would then do a series in between now and say the second movie is, a series would allow them to bring back someone like say Jinyu. I took 3 attempts, and even now I'm pretty sure I still got it wrong. Allow them to bring him back, set up a full story for the second movie. Or I can also see him doing something like Race to the Edge did. That came out the following year after the second movie came out, yet that takes place beforehand. Episode 1, 2, and 3 came out years after 4, 5, 6, yet they take place beforehand. See, guys, for those who are wondering why I've still got baby chickens, when like it seems like a while, it's literally because I don't spend that much time down at chicken pen, which means they're either aging slowly or I do need to be around here. I'm tempted to go and see how many seats I've got and just go mental. But yeah, so the things I like at the time, things I think they would do for the second movie and things I'd expect to be in the second movie actually make a lot more sense for a season. Because like I expect them to bring I expect Jinyu to come back in some way or form. And the reason I expect him to come back in some shape or form is almost everyone was annoyed and kind of pissed that Jinyu and Rumi didn't get, the happy ever after, or didn't at least get a kiss. Now, me, I'm not that fussed about that. It would have been nice to see them have a bit more romantic chemistry on screen, but at the same point, if that romantic chemistry then would have either A, slowed down the plot of the movie, or B, done what I was gonna say is worse, and basically changed how the movie was going. Not a setup for them not doing it. Well, not doing it in that movie. For the reasons of, yes, there was one moment that it would have made a lot of sense. But then if you put into consideration, the whole movie was essentially Rumi getting past her fears. Why on God Earth are so many, I've checked in the normal stone bricks, I'm checking the other side. But, yeah, if it would have slowed down the pace of the movie, or altered how, the pace of the movie was going, I will happily enough take them not doing it in that case, because, to me, the plot of the movie was Rumi dealing with her personal, her literal demons, and needing to be able to look herself in the mirror and be like, I'm perfect the way I am. And guys, when I say it in the case of a 30-second thing, it's like, hold on, wait a minute, how long was the movie? Full length of the movie is 1 hour 40 minutes. You can technically take the last 15 minutes off because the last 10 minutes is just sort of credits on Netflix. 5 minutes before that is essentially takedown for the most part, which means the movie kind of ends at the 1 hour 25 because literally Rumi, Mira, and Zoe talk to fans, and then that just goes straight into Takedown by Twice. So, kind of ends there. But things I would like to see for a second movie, or even a series. I'll cover the series, then I'll do the second, then I'll do the third. Just because I'd like it on record if any of my predictions are right. I don't think they're 100% going to be right. I think there's going to be parts of them that are, though. For a series, I'd love to see them bring Jinyu back in a creative way, but I'd also love to see that his death affecting on Rumi. Because we didn't get to see that because it was right near the end of the movie. Literally, what comes after that is her Zoe, and Mira basically taking care of Junhwa. Okay, they're Korean names, which means I'm going to struggle to pronounce them. But the big bad. And then basically they cut to the thing where they cut to them all being at a spa. Which I'd like to point out, Rumi said the fact of that, after all this is done, we could go to the spa, because she's been put off because of her demons, because of her patterns. Mira's first words are, I will fight for a spa day with you, and it's like, yes, like, I know it would have been nice to see Jinyu and Rumi have a more of a personal connection than, hey, you exist. Hey, I don't want to kill you anymore. Hey, you've been helping me. It would have been nice, and we kind of do get it. We just don't get them in a romantic side, which I'm fine for the first movie for that. It sets a really interesting point for the second, or even the series. For the series, I'd like to see Rumi sort of struggling with essentially Jinyu sacrificing himself to protect her, and them dealing with some minor threats. Nothing too big, because I'd love to see him save it for the second movie. And then, say, the end of the series, I'd love to see either A, them bring Jinyu back in the beginning and we get to see more of a personal connection between Jinyu and Rumi, or B, Jinyu get brought back right at the end and we get to see them have a romantic side there. And by right at the end, I'd be happy at any point in the series, even if it was the last couple episodes, or even the last episode. I'd think it'd be cooler if it was 2-3 episodes beforehand, and we get to see them be all loved up. For the second movie, I'd love to see him carry on going based on a few different things. I'd love to see them have a full conversation to Bobby, their manager, on demons exist, and because I refuse to believe that he's not going to ask questions. I think it'd be cooler for a movie to just go over it than the series. Because in all honesty, I'd be fine if the series didn't include songs. It'd be nice if we got 1 or 2 songs. I wouldn't expect, Hazbin Hotel did do a song per episode. I'm not expecting, actually, I'm pretty sure they did 2 songs per episode. But I'm not expecting that. It'd be nice if we got a couple. If they do a series. Again, I don't know how much of this is true. I'm just going based on the fact of what I think would be nice. But for the second movie, it'd be nice to see them telling Bobby what's actually right and them giving Selena the cold shoulder. Now, you might be asking why, and if you are, quite simply. She told all 3 girls to hide up their demon, hide who they are. Rumi was told she had to hide her demon side because the Hamun couldn't, withstand it. It couldn't take negative energy, essentially. Zoe always felt like she was playing both sides, and because she's half American, half Korean. Mira always felt like she didn't deserve a family, and those were all up in all 3 of them. And only when all 3 of them were honest to all 3 of them, only when Mira was honest to Rumi, Zoe, when Rumi was honest to Zoe, Mira, when Rumi was honest to Mira and Zoe, they were able to get past those and realize they do deserve the things that they want. Mira does deserve a family. Zoe does deserve to not feel like she's too much on people. I'm ready to read all these. Rumi does deserve to feel that she's wanted and cared for. Like, all three of them deserve to feel like their worst sides aren't who they really are. I'm pretty sure I probably should be giving it raw meat. Stonefly raw meat, but raw salmon's all I've got. Dragon, that pond is not, that swim pool is not for you. Do you hear me? So, it was kind of not, so, I'd love to see the fact of them, whether it is them full on giving Selena the cold shoulder, or whether it is them just being like, how the hell have they then come up in third when, how the hell is Deadly Nat, like, the first one I tamed, first set of armor I made, now suddenly in the last. But, like, it was kind of nice for, like, them showing their more vulnerable sides, which is why I think it'd be cool if Selena did get, like, more of a case of Ruby being like, Mira, Zoe, tell Selena I don't want nothing to do with her. Zoe being like, Mira, tell Selena that me and Ruby don't want nothing to do with her. Then Mira being like, Rumi, come on. And then Selena being like, why don't you want nothing to do with me? And then them all being like, then Zoe and Mira being like, you told her to hide who she was from us. You made her lie to us. I also think it would be an interesting take if they're then like, if then Rumi then pipes up, I was considering death. Considering I didn't want to destroy what you'd consider to be so precious. Because near the end of the movie, Rumi's like, I'm gonna destroy the thing I was sworn to protect. Celine, do what you should have done from the beginning. Referring to the fact of, because Rumi herself refers to herself as a mistake. Now, the definition of a mistake is, you've messed up. You didn't mean to do it, but but you messed up. The fact that all this has been put onto a 20-something-year-old old girl, it's seriously a, what were you thinking? You know what, I'm gonna go finish some farming, because I do need to finish them. So, I'd love to see that in a second movie. The fact that, or even just a case of Rumi being a bit more, should I? I don't think I should. But she's like, but no, she's also, and just sort of being a bit more hesitant around her, because at the end of the day, abuse is still abuse, and Rumi did suffer a lot through her childhood. Okay, I'm pretty sure I did, but I'm pretty sure I planted all of them. I must not have. I know it's not because of light, because it's literally Fort Knox down here. Granted, I could probably go and check back, I'd have to check back over every other stream, because I can't remember when I last did this. And there's a very small chance that I've done it in between. No, I'm just going to leave Beetroot. So, it'd be interesting to see how they handle that. And the reason I'd prefer them to handle it in a movie instead of a series, I'd rather the series focus on, not that I want it to solely focus on Rumi, because the first movie did that, but I'd want them to focus on, yeah, no, I am just going to leave them. I'd want them to focus on how, Rumi's doing after, Jinu's death. And, wanted to bring him back. Because, technically speaking, they don't say what happened. And technically, all that could have happened is, Jinu could have been sent back to hell. Back to hell without his, I say hell, back to the demon world without his soul. And Rumi could have to reunite him with his soul. Is the movie supposed to essentially make you believe that he's dead? Yes. Did they do it just essentially to cover their backs? Yes. Did they also leave a bunch of other stuff known for the fact that people would be like, we want more? Yes, they did. Guys, rule number one when it comes to making a movie, if you can leave a gap for a sequel, always do it. You leave people wanting more. See, Sugarcane's something I'm questioning whether I should. But, I'd love to see the point of the second movie not necessarily focused around Rumi, but focused around bringing Gino back, because I'd be very much surprised if they do sequels that they don't bring him back in some unique way. For the simple reason of, I'd be surprised if the Saja boys don't come back in some form or fashion, because someone did go over and do an explanation on a lot of, technically, Abby's the only one whose death is confirmed, and that's because Mira decides to go, no more Abs, and pulls and literally, again, one of the best scenes in the movie. I love the scene, but she just does very precise cuts on someone's stomach, and it's like, how much practice did that girl have? Because apparently, I didn't notice this during the movie, which there's not that much of a surprise. I've seen it several times. I did say Pacific Number, I think, Tuesday with streaming Overwatch. And yet, Overwatch still managed to frustrate me again this week. Not to the levels of last time, but it's kind of starting to reach that level. Again, at some point I do need to go and fix this. Can I be bothered to? No. Will I ever do it? I doubt it. But so essentially, the way it was essentially worded was, Gino's a part of Rumi's sword. She's fine. He's fine. I wouldn't be that surprised if what in reality what's happened is he's trapped in the demon world. His soul is just part of Rumi or Rumi's sword, and she just has to find a way to bring him back and give it to her. Which is why I think for a series it'd be interesting to see him as the antagonist. The big bad. Being sent after, because Greenman might not necessarily be dead, and he sent him after, the girls, because he knows it's a cruel trick. And I literally mean cruel. And then Rumi has to find a way to get past it, and for instance, as she's about to, there's no saving you, I can't, he gets reunited with his soul, and, there's a moment. Which then sets up, the second movie. Because, guys, I probably will just start using this as a reference whenever I mention something like this. Race to the Edge sets up the live-action How to Train Your Dragon perfectly when it came out after it, and this is why. The big bad guy is essentially behind the whole Race to the Edge of the second movie. Drago Bloodthirst is essentially behind everything that happens in the second movie. The number one trader who everyone thought they could trust, because I can't remember his name right now, and yes, it is bugging me the fact I can't remember his name, he turns out to be who lets Dagger out of his cage, lets him nick his boat. Dagger then goes and does a bunch of stuff. The Riders then get dragged in to go after him and all of that. They then end up setting up on the edge, and all that carries on. Vigo and Vigo's brother then get dragged into it because he ends up teaming up with them, but then Dagger ends up leaving them. So does Heather also ends up leaving Vigo. Vigo ends up then coming back after presumed dead at the end of season 4 with this person who was then working for, you guessed it, Drago Bloodthirst. And at the end of season 6, the very last episode, Drago says, "Bring me my fine, I'll do it myself. Bring me my maps. We're finding the Alpha. We're finding the King of Dragons. We're finding their species." See, now all the chickens are growing up, the eggs should start coming in a bit more frequently. So, again, it came out after the second movie, because it came out in 2015. And I'm pretty sure that didn't finish airing until 2018, 2019. I think. Because that's going based off 6 seasons, 1 season per year. Yes, I know the math does not add up, but 2019 is when the third movie came out, so I'm presuming 2018 it probably would have finished. Unless they still were filming when the third movie came out. But I have no idea. Could I look it up? I could, but in the end of the day, I'm not that fast. So, yeah, they set up the second movie really great from something that... Granted, it came out after it, so it was very easy to set up. But again, if you watch it in chronological order, you see the first movie, Riders Defenders of Berk, their seasons. Because I honestly don't know how many seasons are in Riders Defenders of Berk. I'm presuming they've got 2 seasons each. Just because, guys, the only way I've ever seen Riders and Defenders of Berk is on BBC iPlayer. And something I found out from looking up is Dragon's Nine Realms has 8 seasons. Which when I found out, I was like, hold on, wait, have I missed... Is there more seasons I've not seen? No, turns out the 2 seasons I saw on BBC iPlayer were all chunked into the first 4 seasons in season 1, last 4 seasons are in season 2. They go from 7 to 6 or 7 episodes per season to 26. I had to literally quickly do maths there because 26 for the one would then be split down to 2 13s, and then the 2 13s would then be split in half, which would be 6 and 7. So something like season 1 would be 6, season 2 would be 7, season 3 would be 6, season 4 would be 7, 13. And then those 2 13s come together to make 26. And same for season 5, 6, 7, and 8. But yeah, I didn't know that until I double checked. So I have no idea, but getting back to it. You then watch Race to the Edge. That takes place 3 years after Riders and Defenders of Berk. And once you've seen all 6 seasons of Race to the Edge, because Netflix are... there are 6 seasons of that. You then watch the second and third movie. Granted, there was some stuff that you watch right before you see the first season. Like, A Gift of the Night Fury, The Bone Crusher, and I think something else. In all honesty, my mind is currently going blank because I can't think of there's 3 short movies. I don't put them in my rewatch because I forget they exist half the time, and in my head I know what, in Gift of the Night Fury, Toothless goes and finds Hiccup's helmet that they lost while they were flying, and it's how Hiccup learns to solar fly. Only one that I'd really say is important, then the Bone Crusher is you learn about the Bone Crusher. The only one that I do kind of rewatch when, since I don't always, when I do rewatch them, I basically don't always, I sometimes do just rewatch Race to the Edge. Just because I know what happens in Riders and Defenders of Berk. So... I should probably actually go get some wood. Part of me is kind of tempted to just use Dark Oak, just because it'd be the quickest way to get wood to make bookshelves. But then part of me is like, well, if I need more. But then the other part of me is like, I'm going to make another hatchet. But then the other part of me is like, that'll grow, so it's fine. And then there's the second, third move, which you can watch back to back. In all honesty, if someone could fit a series in between the second and third movie, props. I don't think it is actually doable. And the reason I say I don't think they're actually doable is, do you know how tight they keep those two movies together? They basically take place back to back. Meaning, you don't really have space to put a series. Like, the reason Race to the Edge works before the second movie and right after Riders and Defenders of Berk, because after Riders and Defenders of Berk, more specifically after the first movie, like, they're 15 in the first movie, Hiccup's like 20 in the second. You have a full 5 years you can play with, meaning you can do like 5 different shows in that space. So you've got the space to do like several different shows with seasons, and they did. And technically speaking, they do kind of have space for the second movie, but it would be pushing it. Race to the Edge takes place 3 years. Yeah, 3 years after Riders Defenders of Berk. That's how long Dagger the Deranged was locked up. Version of I Should Just Let Him Stand. Would it be easy to just make a second bucket? Kind of, but it'd be kind of pointless because I can only have one at a time, and 9 times out of 10 I don't redo this. It's just a case of I know at some point I will need to, and no one saw a thing. Dragon Scales Cabin Bird, that's nice to know. I've got way too many of Gronkle scales, so I really don't need more, so I do try to avoid them at this point. So you technically have 3 years from that because they're 15 and then they're 18 in Race to the Edge. Like, they are full grown ass adults, which means you have about a year and a half to just under 2 years to then mess with. I'd say about a year and a half. I'd say once Hiccup is approaching 20, you really don't have no more time to mess with any series for that. Could a series be done? I reckon you could do a 4 seasons of them being, 19 and sort of just living on like 18 to 19, them living back on Berk, them having new adventures, them exploring new places. But somebody pointed out a while ago that I didn't ever put in consideration. Hiccup and Race to the Edge was really close to where Valka's base was, which meant that they had to purposely avoid anything like any place close to it, because otherwise it'd be a case of how the hell hasn't Hiccup bumped into his mother, and the good question is, how the hell didn't he? So but yeah, so guys, K-Pop Demon Hunters apparently has been confirmed for a second season. It's not a second and third movie. I'm not 100% sure. I wouldn't put it past them. It would make a lot of sense. But again, I'd love to see the third movie focus on Jinyu being the bad guy and Rumi trying to give him his soul back because he no longer has it, which means He's no longer who he was, and he's just a soulless demon, solely under control of, say, Grima. I'd love to see the second movie, say, focus on Zoe and Mira's either say their future relationships, or say bringing back the Sarja boys and focusing on that. Because again, apparently, the only Sarja boy to actually get toasted, not counting Jinyu, because apparently Mystery, gets the hell out of there. Jinyu protects Rumi, which we don't know where that sort of energy sort of thing was going. All we know is Mira shouts Rumi, sort of panicking the fact of, because presumably it would hurt a demon, or would hurt hunters. Considering it was directly fired on Rumi, I'm presuming it would hurt demons, considering it literally ghosted Jinyu. Baby, we have no idea. I think Romance just is sort of shocked after seeing what happens to Abby, but those three, we don't really know anything what happened to them, so I wouldn't be so surprised if they do come back. Plus, Idol is just a really great song. Granted, what it sounds like is better. But also, guys, to prove the fact that, I typically won't listen to K-pop songs, and somehow this movie got me to listen to 7 on repeat. I was listening to, I think it was, I can't think of, I think Pink something. The songs are from someone, I think it was Pink. And it's no, who could just taste the music? And it's, then into what started happening with one night. Sorry for the mouth vomit. What ended up happening is I ended up hearing, "This is how it's done." I just ended up hearing how it's done lyrics in my head. Because every so often, I literally do just hear, I bet I need more food. How the hell have I gone through 24 pieces of bread? I'm seriously going to start killing some of those cows next episode and getting some leather, because I need some. But anyway, guys, that is going to be the end of the episode. Sorry for talking so much about K-pop Demon Hunters. Great movie. I hope it does get a sequel and a third, because it'd be cool to get a Trinity. I say Trinity, three movies. A series would also be really cool. I think there's a potential chance if they give us a series, it'll be out in the next year and a half. I think it'd be out the end of next year, beginning in 2027. But who knows? Anyway, guys, this is Tigress. Hope you've enjoyed. If you're new around here, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.